after this eland and we see a blue wildebeest bull, I'd rather shoot that anyway, so.
Take two. I am so blessed and fortunate to represent the Wildlife Gallery all over the world. And after 7 trips, I finally got the poor man's buffalo, the blue wildebeest. So I'm very excited about what just happened this morning. And now the most important thing after taking great photos is to preserve the skin and ensure that you get a good cape when it comes back to America. That has a lot to do with the outfitter, and certainly you want to choose a really good outfitter. My choice here was Chipunga, Kambako in Namibia, and A. Strickland is my PH, and I know they're going to do a great job, but I'm going to talk to you, the hunter, what you need to look for when you go to Africa in the camps. So after you get all your photos and everything, certainly we're going to load this in the truck. It's real important not to slide it too much and pull the hair off. Ace immediately is like, we need to lift this to move it where we want. You don't want to drag the hair off. There's not a lot of hair on an African animal anyway. So certainly the cuts are very similar to America. The trackers, the skinners here in Africa, they know what to do. But you want to make sure they cut this on one side of the mane or the other. If you know which way you want the turn of your wildebeest, you can tell them on which side to put it on the mane. From there, you want them to make their cuts back far enough that if you do a pedestal mount on your animal, you have enough skin for a pedestal mount. On a blue wildebeest like this with a beautiful tail and a beautiful skin, you're going to want to save the back skin. I don't recommend saving back skins if you don't have a purpose for them because it's extra expense. But on a blue wildebeest, we will have a use for it. Cutting down the back of the leg to the first joint and skinning around it. Those are important things. But the most important thing is the type of salt they use in the skinning shed. You want non-iodized salt. So you want salt that's table salt. You don't want to use rock salt, and you don't want to use salt that has iodine in it. So there's things that you want to ask your PH and your outfitter to ensure you get a great trophy when it comes back to the U.S. because the salting process is the most important process to preserving the skin for a great mount. When you're back to the skinning shed, it's really nice to see that this facility actually has a floor, a tile floor, and how they process the meat. A big part of hunting in Africa is the meat. The meat is used to feed the camps, feed the staff, and even the villages. So they do a really good job here. Everything's ready to go. They're going to hang this blue wildebeest up and start the skinning process as we discussed. Okay, one of my missions here is to try to talk to them about and educate Africa about the skinning facility. This is nice. It's got a good breeze. Obviously, nothing's pretty about the salting, but they do a good job of salting here and then hanging, as I'll show you, but we're talking to them about building racks. Having a good rack with some slats in it or pallets, so when the skin is salted, the juices and the fluids can be, obviously absorbed into the salt, but they can drip out below and not pool. They have enough salt in here that it's certainly not going to pool, but we're just trying to help them make it better, help it for the client, because obviously at the end of the day, after you take that trophy, you want to have a really good trophy skin to put a mount on your wall back at home after the safari. So it's actually pretty nice here. I've not seen this advancement in Africa in a skinning facility to have a drying rack. The only downfall to this is it's in the sun. So what I've suggested as I go throughout the camps here in Africa is they need to either get a shade over it or put this inside. It's a great idea. This is what you want. You want it to be salted. You want it to hang and drip dry, so all the fluids can come out of it. I like what they got going here. Except it shouldn't be in direct sunlight, because what's going to happen is that sun's going to dry that leather out, or that hide, before it's not leather yet, but it's going to dry that skin out, and then that skin, when it gets to America and goes to the tanning process, it's not going to be able to absorb the pickle. It's not going to be able to loosen that hide up and get it so it's pliable and able to tan. So one of the things they need to fix here in this camp is to get their skins out of the direct sunlight, and they're going to work on that immediately. So these are hunters' trophies after they've been processed, salt dried. They're all tagged. At the Wildlife Gallery, we provide clients with a waterproof tag that has their name, the shipping company's name, and the broker in the U.S. So It just makes it easy for the safari outfitter if you're a client showing up in Africa, and you can just hand a stack of waterproof labels over to them. But Africa's come a long way, and I think it's through education, it's through networking, it's through people talking to them. This is the #1 trophy destination for the safari hunters come to Africa, because there's so many different species to hunt. The adventure is by far the most incredible experience any hunter will have in safari is Africa. And I'm really impressed at the way they're stepping up their game over here for trophy preservation. So as I've said, one of the final things you want to have, or you want to do, is you want to have waterproof shipping tags. And we typically provide the hunter going to Africa with 3 per animal. 1 for the horns and skull, 1 for the cape, and 1 for back half if you take the back half. I'd rather you have too many than not enough. But one of these gets zip tied to every piece of your trophy. So if anything gets misplaced in the process, they know exactly whose it is, what the taxidermist information is, your broker, and who you are to contact you.
We're going in after this eland and we see a blue wildebeest bull. I'd rather shoot that anyway, so.
That's a great bull. I mean, they call it the poor man's buffalo, and I don't know. I feel pretty rich right now. I don't feel too poor. I feel pretty blessed. This is such a gorgeous animal. Holy cats. Whew. It's all about the experience, and we experienced Africa this morning. Get off for zebra, see eland, start the stalk for eland, and then this old solitary bull that Ace knew was around starts walking through the brush, and look what we ended up with. An absolutely stunning trophy. Wow.